What happens when one of television's most beloved sitcom stars walks into what should be a friendly morning talk show and ends up in the fight of her career? Well, buckle up, because what went down between Julie Bowen and Joy Behar on The View was absolutely explosive. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why Julie was escorted off the set. Make sure to subscribe and drop a comment below, because this story has more twists than a soap opera. So there's Julie Bowen, right? Sitting in that iconic View chair, probably thinking this would be just another routine promotional appearance. She's there to talk about her latest project, maybe share some behind-the-scenes stories from Modern Family, the usual celebrity interview stuff. But Joy Behar had other plans, and let me tell you, those plans were about to turn this whole interview into a complete disaster. The tension started almost immediately. Joy kicks things off with what seemed like an innocent question about Julie's career, but there was this undertone, this edge to her voice that you could just feel through the screen. She goes, "Julie, you've built quite the career playing the perfect suburban mom. Tell us, how much of that is actually acting versus just being yourself?" Now, on the surface, that might sound like a compliment, but the way Joy delivered it, with that slight smirk and the emphasis on the word acting, it was clear she was trying to get under Julie's skin right from the start. Julie, being the professional she is, responds with grace. She says, "Well, Joy, I think any good performance comes from finding truth in the character. Claire Dunphy and I might share some similarities, but she's definitely her own person with her own quirks and challenges. She's trying to keep it light, trying to steer the conversation towards safer territory, but Joy wasn't having any of it." "Oh, so you're saying there's a difference between the real Julie and the TV Julie? That's interesting," Joy fires back, and now the other hosts are starting to look uncomfortable. Whoopi's eyebrows are raised, Sarah's shifting in her seat, and you can tell they're sensing where this might be heading. Because from what I've heard around town, the lines between those two might be more blurred than people think. Now, this is where things start to get really interesting. Julie's face changes. Not dramatically, but you can see it in her eyes. That spark of confusion mixed with the first hint of irritation. She tilts her head slightly and says, "I'm not sure what you mean by that, Joy. Could you be more specific?" She's still being diplomatic, still trying to give Joy a chance to clarify or maybe back down from whatever this is building up to be. But Joy, oh Joy, she doubles down. Hard. Well, let's talk about some of the stories that have been circulating. Stories about behavior on set, about how you supposedly treat crew members, about the real Julie Bowen that maybe doesn't match up with this wholesome image you've cultivated. The studio is dead silent now. You could hear a pin drop. Even the audience seems to sense that something has shifted, that this has gone from a friendly chat to something much more serious. Julie's voice gets quieter, but there's steel in it now. "Joy, I have to say I'm surprised by this line of questioning. I came here to talk about my work, not to defend myself against unnamed sources and vague accusations. If someone has something specific to say about me, they should say it to my face." She's maintaining her composure, but you can tell she's fighting to keep it together. "Oh, they have," Joy says with this satisfied smile that just makes your skin crawl. "And some of them have said it to my face. But maybe we should talk about your recent charity work instead. I'm sure that's much more comfortable territory for you." The way she says it, the sarcasm dripping from every word, it's like she's enjoying watching Julie squirm. That's when Julie really starts to show some fire. She leans forward slightly and says, "Actually, Joy, let's not change the subject. If you have something to say about me, please say it. I'd rather address whatever this is head-on than dance around it for the next 10 minutes. The audience is completely captivated now. This isn't what anyone expected when they bought tickets to see The View that day. Joy looks at her notes, and you can tell she's been planning this. She's got something prepared, something she's been saving for just this moment. "All right, Julie, since you insist. I've spoken with several people who've worked with you over the years, and they've painted a very different picture of Julie Bowen than what the public sees. Stories about temper tantrums, about making unreasonable demands, about treating people like they're beneath you." She pauses for effect, letting it sink in. "Care to comment on that?" The camera zooms in on Julie's face, and you can see her processing this. She's clearly blindsided, clearly never expected this kind of ambush on what should have been a friendly morning show. Her hands clench slightly on the armrests of her chair, and when she speaks, her voice is steady, but you can hear the anger underneath. Joy, I find it interesting that you're bringing up these anonymous allegations without giving me any specifics to respond to. That's not journalism, that's gossip. And frankly, it's beneath what I thought The View represented. Oh, is it now? Joy shoots back. So you're saying these people are lying? That there's no truth to any of it? She's got this predatory look in her eyes now, like she's circling for the kill. Because I have to tell you, Julie, when multiple people tell me the same story, I tend to believe there might be some fire behind all that smoke. Julie takes a deep breath, and you can see her making a decision. She's done playing defense. Joy, what I'm saying is that if you're going to make accusations against someone's character on national television, you should have the courage to be specific about what you're alleging and who's making these claims. Otherwise, this feels less like an interview and more like a character assassination. The tension in the studio is absolutely electric now. This has gone way beyond awkward into full-blown confrontation territory. Joy's eyes flash with something that looks almost like excitement at Julie's pushback. She clearly wasn't expecting Julie to come back this hard, but instead of backing down, she seems energized by it. Character assassination? That's a pretty strong accusation, Julie. I'm simply asking questions that I think our viewers deserve answers to. Isn't that what journalism is supposed to be about? Asking the tough questions? Journalism? Julie's voice rises slightly, and now she's really showing her frustration. Joy, journalism involves facts, sources, verification. What you're doing right now is repeating unsubstantiated gossip and trying to pass it off as legitimate questioning. There's a difference. She turns slightly to address the other hosts. Is this really what The View has become? A platform for spreading rumors? Whoopi tries to jump in here, clearly wanting to defuse the situation. Ladies, maybe we should take a step back but Joy cuts her off immediately. No, Whoopi. I think we should let Julie finish explaining why she thinks asking about her professional reputation is somehow unfair. Joy's voice has this mocking tone now that's just infuriating to listen to. After all, if these stories aren't true, it should be easy enough to deny them, right, Julie? That's when Julie really loses it. Not in a screaming way, but in that cold, controlled fury that's somehow even more powerful. Joy, you want specifics? Let me give you some specifics. What you're doing right now is exactly the kind of behavior that gives media a bad name. You're hiding behind the guise of journalism to launch personal attacks without providing any real evidence or context. You're taking anonymous gossip and trying to treat it like verified fact. Her voice gets stronger with each word. And you're doing it to someone who came here in good faith to have a conversation. Good faith? Joy laughs, and it's not a pleasant sound. Julie, please, you came here to promote yourself, just like every other celebrity who sits in that chair. Don't pretend this is some noble mission. She leans back in her chair like she's getting comfortable for a long fight. And as for evidence, well, maybe the evidence is in how you're reacting right now. The Julie Bowen I'm seeing today seems pretty different from the sweet, composed character you play on TV. The audience is completely silent now. You can feel the discomfort radiating from everyone in that studio. Sarah looks like she wants to disappear into her chair, and even the camera operators seem unsure where to focus. But Julie, she's not backing down anymore. You want to see the real Julie Bowen? She says, and there's this dangerous calm in her voice. Fine, the real Julie Bowen doesn't tolerate bullies. The real Julie Bowen believes in treating people with respect and dignity, something you seem to have forgotten how to do. And the real Julie Bowen is smart enough to recognize a setup when she sees one. Joy's face changes at the word bully. You can see she didn't like that at all. A bully? Really, Julie? For asking legitimate questions about your professional conduct? That's rich coming from someone who allegedly made a crew member cry because her coffee wasn't the right temperature. Allegedly, Julie repeats, emphasizing each syllable. There's that word again, allegedly. You know what's not alleged, Joy? What's not alleged is that you invited me on this show under false pretenses. What's not alleged is that you're using your platform to spread unverified stories. What's not alleged is that you're behaving like, she pauses, choosing her words carefully, like someone who's more interested in creating drama than having an actual conversation. False pretenses? Joy's voice gets louder now. Julie, I told you we were going to have a conversation about your career. This is part of your career. Your reputation is part of your career. If you can't handle that level of scrutiny, maybe you shouldn't be doing interviews. That's when Julie stands up, actually stands up right there on camera. The whole studio gasps. You know what, Joy? You're absolutely right. I shouldn't be doing this interview. Not when it's clear that you had no intention of having an honest conversation from the moment I walked in here. Oh, so now you're running away? Joy says, and you can hear the satisfaction in her voice. She thinks she's won. That's very telling, Julie. Very telling indeed. Julie turns back to face her, and the look on her face is just ice cold. I'm not running away from anything, Joy. I'm choosing not to participate in whatever this circus is supposed to be. There's a difference between tough questions and ambush journalism, and what you're doing right now crosses that line. Ambush journalism? Joy is practically laughing now. Julie, you're on a talk show. We talk about things. If you can't handle that, maybe you should stick to scripted television where you can control every word that comes out of your mouth. The condescension in Joy's voice is just unbelievable. You can see the exact moment when Julie decides she's had enough. You know what, Joy? I've spent the last 15 minutes trying to have a professional conversation with you, trying to give you the benefit of the doubt, trying to assume you had some legitimate purpose behind these questions. But it's clear that this isn't about journalism or accountability or any of the high-minded ideals you're hiding behind. She takes a step closer to Joy's chair. This is about you trying to tear someone down for your own entertainment, and I'm not going to be part of it. The camera is following her every move now, and you can see the producers in the background frantically trying to figure out what to do. So what is it then, Julie? Joy asks, her voice dripping with mock innocence. What's this really about if it's not about accountability? Julie looks directly into the camera, then back at Joy. It's about a host who's forgotten that there are real people behind the celebrities she interviews. It's about someone who's gotten so comfortable being cruel that she doesn't even recognize it anymore. The words hit like a physical blow. And it's about a show that's apparently willing to let that happen. Joy's face goes red. Visibly red on camera. Cruel? You think I'm being cruel by asking about your professional reputation? Maybe you should ask the people who've had to work with you what cruel really looks like. There it is again, Julie says, shaking her head. More unnamed sources, more vague allegations, more hiding behind anonymous gossip instead of having the courage to make specific accusations that I could actually respond to. This isn't journalism, Joy. This is cowardice, dressed up as hard-hitting television. The word cowardice hangs in the air like a bomb that just went off. Joy shoots up from her chair like she's been electrocuted. The sudden movement is so jarring that even Whoopi jumps slightly. Cowardice? Did you just call me a coward on my own show? Her voice is shaking with rage now, all pretense of professional composure completely gone. You have some nerve, lady. Some real nerve coming on here and insulting me when all I did was ask you some questions. Questions? Julie's laugh is bitter. Joy, you didn't ask me questions. You made accusations. You implied I'm some kind of monster based on stories you won't even properly attribute. That's not questioning. That's character assassination. And yes, hiding behind anonymous sources to do it is absolutely cowardly. The other hosts are frantically trying to regain control. Sarah attempts to jump in with, maybe we should all just take a breath here, but both Julie and Joy ignore her completely. This has become a two-person war with an audience of millions watching it unfold live. You want specific sources? Joy's voice is getting louder and more shrill. Fine. I spoke with Marcus Rodriguez, who worked as a production assistant on Modern Family for 3 seasons. He told me about the time you made him redo your lunch order 4 times because the lettuce wasn't crispy enough, and when he finally got frustrated, you had him removed from the set. Julie's eyes narrow. Marcus Rodriguez? I remember Marcus. He was fired for showing up to work intoxicated and causing safety issues on set. The lettuce story is complete fiction, but even if it weren't, taking the word of someone who was terminated for cause isn't exactly solid journalism, is it, Joy? Oh, so now you're calling him a liar? Joy shoots back. How convenient that everyone who has something negative to say about you is either lying or has an agenda. I'm saying that responsible journalism involves considering the credibility and motives of your sources. Julie responds coldly. Something you apparently skipped in journalism school, if you even went to journalism school. That last comment hits Joy like a slap. Her face goes from red to purple. How dare you question my credentials? I've been in this business longer than you've been alive, you entitled little princess. Entitled princess? Julie repeats, and now she's really angry. There it is. There's the real Joy Behar. When you can't win with facts, you resort to personal insults. When you can't make your case with evidence, you start name-calling like a playground bully. Don't you lecture me about being a bully, Joy snaps. Not when I've got 3 more sources who say you're impossible to work with. Not when I've got stories about you making wardrobe assistants cry, about you demanding that craft services restock the entire table because you didn't like the brand of crackers they had. Julie throws her hands up in exasperation. More anonymous sources, more unverified stories, more gossip masquerading as fact. Joy, do you even hear yourself? You're proving my point with every word you say. I'm proving that you can't handle the truth about yourself. Joy fires back. That's what this is really about. You can't stand that someone finally has the guts to call you out on your behavior. Call me out? Julie's voice gets dangerously quiet again. Joy, you haven't called me out on anything. You've repeated gossip and presented it as fact. You've taken the word of disgruntled employees without any verification. You've ambushed me with accusations you can't prove and then acted shocked when I defend myself. She starts gathering her things from the table next to her chair. You want to know what's really entitled? What's really entitled is thinking you can destroy someone's reputation on national television without doing any actual journalistic work to verify your claims. I did my work, Joy insists, but her voice lacks conviction now. I talked to people. I verified stories. You talked to people who had axes to grind. Julie corrects her. You verified nothing. Real verification would involve getting both sides of the story, checking facts, providing context. You did none of that. Whoopi makes one last desperate attempt to salvage the situation. Ladies, I think we need to wrap this up and move on to our next segment, but Joy cuts her off again. No, Whoopi. I want to hear Julie explain why she thinks she's above accountability. I want to hear why she thinks celebrities should be immune from criticism. Julie turns back one final time, and her voice is steel. Joy, I never said I was above accountability. Real accountability involves real evidence, real facts, real journalism. What you've done here today isn't accountability. It's a hit job. It's using your platform to spread rumors and gossip because you thought it would make good television. She slings her purse over her shoulder. But you know what? You're right about one thing. This is made for very revealing television, just not in the way you intended. Where do you think you're going? Joy demands. We're not finished here. Yes, we are, Julie says firmly. We're absolutely finished. I came here to have a conversation, not to be ambushed with gossip and character assassination. I refuse to participate in this circus any longer. She starts walking toward the edge of the set, and you can see the panic in the producer's eyes. This is live television, and their guest is walking off in the middle of a segment. Julie, wait, Whoopi calls out, trying to salvage something from this disaster. But Joy can't let it go. She absolutely cannot let Julie have the last word. Run away, Julie, she calls out as Julie reaches the edge of the camera's view. That's what you always do when things get difficult, isn't it? Just run away and let other people clean up your mess. Julie stops dead in her tracks. Slowly, deliberately, she turns around and walks back toward Joy's chair. The entire studio holds its breath. When she speaks, her voice is calm but carries the weight of absolute finality. Joy, the only mess here is what you've made of what should have been a simple interview. The only person running away from anything is you running away from basic journalistic integrity. And the only person who should be embarrassed by what happened here today is you. She looks directly into the main camera. To anyone watching who might be considering appearing on this show, I'd suggest you ask some very specific questions about what kind of interview you're walking into. Because what I experienced today wasn't journalism. It was an ambush designed for entertainment value, regardless of the cost to the person sitting in this chair. The security team is moving now, clearly having been given instructions to escort her out, but Julie raises her hand. I can find my own way out, thank you. And with that, she walks off the set under her own power, leaving Joy Behar sitting there with her mouth open and the rest of the view panel looking absolutely mortified. The camera stays on Joy for just a moment too long, and you can see the exact moment when she realizes that this didn't go the way she planned. Not at all. So there you have it, the complete breakdown of how Julie Bowen ended up being escorted off The View after one of the most brutal confrontations in daytime television history. What started as what should have been a routine celebrity interview turned into an absolute masterclass in how not to conduct journalism. with Joy Behar's ambush tactics backfiring spectacularly. Make sure to subscribe for more incredible behind-the-scenes stories like this one, and drop a comment below. What do you think was the exact moment Joy realized she had picked the wrong fight with the wrong person?